there, man. Go inside. Get inside. Yeah, get inside. Midnight.
One team will be hoping to be better away from home, while the other is taking flight under new leadership. We will be visiting Clarendon and St. Catherine on this Chapelton Maroons and Dunbeholden season preview. Yes, people, welcome back to JPL Fun. We keep trucking along towards the new JPL season with a look at two more teams. And we just have to start in Chapelton, where the Phoenix has landed. It was mission accomplished last season for the Maroons. Having just returned back to the top flight football, they managed to hold onto that status at the end despite only amassing 37 points. And it was far from smooth sailing in achieving this, playing their home games miles away from their community and cycling through 3 head coaches. They were far from being the most entertaining team, scoring only 36 goals in 39 games in fact, but there was a clear togetherness that shined through and led them away from the dreaded relegation zone. And so far this off-season, management was looking to put clear foundations in place to make sure they remain a Premier League team for years to come. They appointed Pastor Reynolds as a technical director and recalled the man that led them out of Tier 2, Bjorn Thomas, to once again be their head coach. As well as there was an active pursuit of JPL approved venues to play home games closer to the community. For once, everything was going smoothly for the Maroons until the arrival of Phoenix that totally flipped everything upside down. I'm sure everyone and their grandmother has heard about the news by now that the Phoenix group has fully purchased the club last week, and we are already witnessing a metamorphosis. Just a month after being hired, Bjorn Thomas has resigned and already took over the reins at Harborview Football Club. Veteran coach Donovan Duki replaces him, and former Humberline player Ricardo Martin joins him as his assistant. And Craig Butler himself will replace Reynolds as the technical director. The club even changed its name to Phoenix Chapelton Maroons, and they will be donning a new badge. Of course, they will have a massive impact on the roster as well, as there is no doubt a few of their senior players from last year will be leaving, and there's already an influx of Phoenix players in the preseason camp. Will this new direction pay off for the Maroons, or will they face the same fate as their Clarendon brothers via Phoenix United? Yeah, it all sounds overly dramatic, but don't tell me you won't be tuning in every week to see how it all unfolds. Key arrivals and departures. I almost wish I don't have to do this right now, because there's no doubt the roster is going to look completely different by the time the transfer market ends. But for now, we are aware of a few senior players departing. Electrifying winger Demar Deacon has returned to Arnett. Attacker Javel Ellis has also seemed to have left the club, and it seems he will be joined by impressive youngster Malik Stevens, who posted a goodbye message on his Instagram page. As for incomings, apart from a few noticeable absentees, we can expect a majority of the Phoenix best players making their way from there to Chapelton, including Brazilian forward Marcos Rojas, whose team was finally getting a hang of the league towards the end of last season. But again, expect more departures and arrivals before the season starts, as Butler and Co. shape this club in their own image. Key players to watch. Again, it's hard to pinpoint who will be around when the season kicks off. I personally believe a player like Andre Vanzi is invaluable, but he did leave via Phoenix United to join Chapelton last season, so who knows if he will be a part of the new Phoenix project. So on that note, my key player is goalkeeper Prince Daniel Smith. Vere had one of the worst goals against records in the league last season, as they never seemed to lock down a consistent goalkeeper, and while Daniel Smith had himself a fair share of ups and downs last season as well, when he gets it right, he is a very competent goalkeeper. If they play anything like Vere last season, they will need him to be at his best for sure. Their main aim this season. Craig Butler will tell you if he doesn't win the league, this season was a failure. And I'm sure most football fans will be telling him to temper such expectations after the debacle which was Vere last year, and just make sure you avoid relegation. So I will find the happy medium and say if the club don't challenge for a playoff spot, the season was a disappointment. My predictions. This is way tougher to predict than any other team this season. On one hand, Chapelton showed enough grit last season, displaying they know to roll with the punches when the going gets tough. But on the other hand, what happened to Veer last season does deem one confidence in Craig Butler and the Phoenix project. But despite his own record with Dunbeholden last season, I believe Dunbeholden will be key here. His style of football is a lot more pragmatic to what we are used to from Lenny Hyde, meaning they should be more defensive minded against the bigger teams. But if they are as naive as Veer last year in any way, I am sure we'll see another Phoenix shot down and being relegated. As for Dunbeholden, they are going through a few changes of their own, but of course, nothing close to what's going on over at Chapelton. They had a real up and down season last year, with a good portion of it looking ominous as if they were certain they were going down. It was a team that was in constant flux, as just like Chapelton Maroons, they had 3 different coaches throughout the season. And with that, their style of football flipped back and forth a bit, from the pragmatic early beginnings under Philip Williams to a more adventurous attacking style under John Thomas, before finally sealing top flight survival with the ultra-conservative approach under Harold Thomas. However, the only thing that was consistent about Dunbeholden last season was their god-awful away form. They were the second worst team in the league on their travels, only picking up 10 points. But they were also the physical embodiment of the phrase home field advantage, as they maximized their small pitch to pick up majority of their points and crucial wins, especially against the top 6. So it's no rocket science that they will need to figure out a way to do better on the road, a task I'm sure new head coach Damion Gordon will relish in taking on. Key arrivals and departures. It's a bit of a surprise, but Dunbeholden has been one of the more active teams so far this transfer window. They lost some key pieces in Ajuma Johnson, who heads in the opposite direction of Gordon. They also lost winger Dwight Merrick, who joined the new look Montego Bay United. But they have done stellar work in the recruitment so far, addressing last season's major weaknesses. The attack got a major boost with the arrival of centre forward Stephen Barnett from Dunbeholden. They spruced up the defense with veteran defender Navon Turner from Montego Bay. And Gordon snagged a couple of defenders from his former team, as both Shamara Booth and Christopher Matthews will be joining him in St. Catherine. And they even look at the goalkeeper position with the purchase of former Contest Spring goalkeeper John-Luc Wilmot, who has huge potential to be one of the best. I still feel though that they need at least 1 or 2 more wingers overall, but it's been a pretty good transfer window so far for Dunbeholden. Key players to watch. This one is fairly easy because Dunbeholden were a team that only scored 34 goals last season, so their new high-priced striker, Stephen Barnett, just got to be the key player. It may not have worked out for him in Portmore, but he was practically a one-man army for Dunbeholden and almost single-handedly keep them in the league in the second half of the season. He is exactly the type of striker they need to improve. Their main aim this season. Again, last season they flirted with relegation and they will not want anything like that again this season. They would love to be in the playoffs, but they may not pressure Gordon too much in his first season. They would be happy, I feel, with a playoff spot challenge. My predictions: whether they become a playoff spot contender will massively depend on if they greatly increase their fortunes on the road while keeping their home record intact. Again, I like the work they have been doing so far in the transfer market, especially going out and getting Stephen Barnett, but I still believe they will need more before I start penciling them in as a top 6 team. I also do believe Gordon is the right man for the job, especially if given time, but at this moment of recording, I once again see them finishing 10th, and before you get your pitchforks and torches ready, Dunbeholden fans, I also don't believe they will be in a relegation dogfight this time around. They will be better, but just not enough to catch better teams ahead of them in the table. But alright, that's all I got for this latest episode of Season Previews. Let me know in the comment section below, especially you Chapelton fans, what are your prospects and hopes for this season? Do you believe Butler and Phoenix will be the right revolution needed for your team to go to the top? As for Dunbeholden fans, let me know if you think Gordon is the right man to lead you guys back into the playoffs. But again, thank you all for watching, and please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you all up to date on all 14 teams leading into the start of the new season. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place, Jamaica fan. YouTube, big up yourself.